This is not a normal video light. At first, I thought the GVM Z200B was just a LED panel with a slightly unique design. But after using it for the past month, I've realized it actually solves an issue I've had with all of my COB lights. COB lights are powerful, flexible, and can look amazing. But for smaller shoots, they can be a little overkill. You'll need a larger stand, a big softbox, they take up a lot more space, and they take a little bit longer to set up. This is where the Z200B started to make a lot more sense. It's not trying to be the brightest light in your kit, it's trying to be the light you actually want to use when you want something portable, fast, and lightweight. So in this video, I'm not going to bore you with all of the technical specs of this light. Instead, I want to show you what it's actually like to use this light, where it makes more sense to use this over a COB light and where it doesn't, and why this weird tile light ended up being a lot more useful than I expected. Quick disclaimer, GVM did send me these lights for a review, but I'm actually sending it right back to them and they have no say in this video whatsoever. Now, onto the review. First, before anyone gets mad at me, I love COB lights. A good COB light is easily one of the best investments you can make as a content creator or filmmaker. They're bright, flexible, and once you add a nice softbox to it, can make great cinematic images. But as we've mentioned, they require a lot more heavy-duty accessories and setup to actually use. This isn't an issue if you have a ton of space, but in smaller rooms, office spaces, or client spaces, it can get pretty tight. It's kind of like bringing a full-size cinema rig to a social media shoot. Sure, it can do the job and it will look amazing, but it's a bit overkill. And that's where the GVM Z200B zip tile light comes in handy because of its form factor. The first thing that stands out from the Z200B is its shape. It is a rectangular 2 feet by 1 foot tile light, meaning it's a lot wider and flatter than your traditional COB light. And that might not sound exciting, but it does change the way you use this light. With a traditional COB light, you have a very small source of light, and that's why you need modifiers to really get a soft look from them. However, because this zip tile already has so much surface area, even without the softbox attachment, you get pretty soft light. And because of its shape, you can get really unique wrapping with the light as well. I currently have mine set up to a horizontal, and you can see how it wraps around my face very nicely. So this light becomes a lot simpler to set up than your traditional COB light. And that speed and simplicity really matters, especially if you're a solo filmmaker and content creator. And because of its unique design, you can change the orientation of the light very easily. And I find the horizontals pretty good for interview setups, but if you're doing more product reviews or things of that nature, you can set this to a vertical orientation to get a different look from this light. So when would I choose this light over a traditional COB light? The first situation is a talking head setup in a small room, just like this one. Because I don't have that much space in the room, using the traditional COB light with a large softbox can make it feel kind of claustrophobic. Whereas with this thinner zip tile light, it's not taking up hardly any space at all. And because it already is a larger source of light, you're getting very soft lighting, which is very pleasing on subjects. The second situation a light like this would be helpful is in product videos. When you're filming small products, you don't need a large light blasting a ton from a very far distance. You want something typically a lot closer with a more direction to it. With a smaller, flatter light like this, I can easily change the orientation, shape the light, and create different patterns without having to change the modifiers at all. And it works great whether that's as a key light, a side light, or an edge light. And this goes for both products and people. The third situation is on smaller client shoots. And this is where I appreciate it the most. When you're filming for a client, speed really matters. Not because you want to rush the job and ignore quality, but every moment on set is money that you're wasting if you're not shooting. So if I walk into my client's office and it's really small, I don't want to bring the largest, biggest light that's going to require the longest setup. I want to bring something very lightweight, compact, and easy to set up. And that's what the Z200B totally is. Now, I don't want to make it sound like this light replaces every COB light, because it absolutely doesn't. If I need to bounce a light, create a very large source of light with a diffusion, or create a more dramatic setup with a light very far away, I'm still going for my COB light. COB lights are still better when you need a lot of light and more modification options. So I don't see the Z200B being a complete replacement for my COB lights. Instead, it's meant to supplement my kit. It's adding another tool to my toolkit. A COB light to me in this analogy is like a great chef's knife. Very precise, very technical, and amazing to use, but can be dangerous or maybe overkill depending on what you're cooking. But the Z200B is more like a pocket knife, something that you can carry around easily, super lightweight, and can get most of the job done if you're just trying to cut something up. So after using the GVM Z200B, here's my honest takeaways. This is not a light I would buy if I purely cared about power output. This does have 200 watts of power output and is more than bright enough for most scenarios, but if you're trying to fight the sun, you'll definitely want to get something like 600 watts and above. But for smaller shoots, smaller spaces, and for simplicity's sake, this light is a great option. And honestly, I was not expecting that when I first got my hands on the Z200B. So if you already own a COB light, I'm not telling you to replace it with this light. But if you want a light that's easier to set up, more manageable to move around, and takes up very little space, then you might want to check this one out. If you'd like to pick up the Z200B light for yourself, there will be a link in the description box and pinned comment down below. Huge thanks to GVM for sponsoring this video and sending me these lights to review, and to all of you for liking and watching this video. If you enjoyed this gear review video, you can check out my latest gear review on a light here. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. I appreciate every single one of you who do, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.